What's happening in Minneapolis right now is a very big red flag that we have so much work still to do, and we are not approaching change in the most effective way. I think about police officers that kill these black men and women, and while I can experience empathy and sadness and see the injustice, I can't deny the fact that I was bred in a system that was built on slaves. And as a woman of a white skin, I was programmed to fear the black color. And while I can identify that that's part of my programming, not everyone has that same awareness or that understanding that the racism runs deep. It's in all of us. And without that understanding, we can't expect the world to change. If we're not able to identify the racism in ourselves, we can't change the racism in this world. Because if we don't identify the racism in ourselves, we will blame those that outwardly express their racism, whether it's a deliberate act of racism or not, whether they're aware that they're acting from a point of racism or not. The fact that we as individuals can't say collectively that we are built and bred to see ourselves as separate individuals, as different skin color, and that is why we are different people, and we accept those differences instead of valuing the equality of every single breath. We are all breathing, and that is the value of life. That is the intrinsic value that you cannot deny. It does not matter what you look like. That is the value of life. But so many of us are outraged, including myself, at people who express this racism outwardly, such as a police officer killing a black man for no reason. We have to look at how we're responsible and how we're contributing and how we're accepting that very same nature within ourselves. That takes self-honesty. No one wants to admit they're racist. No, everyone wants to say, I don't see color. I don't see color. I have no problem with any other skin color. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, and that might be true, but racism exists in me. And if I allow myself to have certain experiences in relation to people of color, whether it be fear, whether it be assuming a stereotype, whether it be making assumptions about who a person is because of their culture, that existent within me is accepting and allowing it to exist in this world. The fact that I've allowed it in myself already says it can exist in this world. So until every single person on this planet takes responsibility for their inner racism, we can't blame the system. We can't blame these police officers. We can't blame these states and these, countries that are allowing racism to exist or to manifest, because all that manifestation is doing is showing us what exists within us. Yes, our country, the United States, is built on slavery. It is built on the backs of black men and women and children who were kidnapped and brought to this country to work for free and to be abused. That system of life still exists. We all are still slaves to the system. We're all still slaves to money because we've put money and profit over life. We value money and profit over life. The fact that we have the economic system that we do, that is clear. We're all still slaves. And the racism that exists out in the world exists within us. So I implore anyone who is seeing these manifestations and are appalled by them, which we all should be, to also within self-honesty, look inward and ask yourself, have you ever seen someone based on their skin color that's different from you and assumed who they were, or have an idea about them, or assumed what kind of behavior they're going to have, or know how they're going to talk, or know what to expect from them? Have you ever looked at someone without spending any time with them and think you know who they are because of the color of their skin? I'm not condoning what's happened and what is happening. Racism is something that resonates deeply within me, and I think it's because I'm an American and I was born and raised in this country, and my roots are in this country, and my roots have a history with slavery, and that's real, and we're all the product of the sins of our fathers. All of our generational lines come from a history that we do not condone. But we have the consequence of now cleaning up that mess. Because who we were and who our parents were and who our grandparents were and who our great-grandparents were and who our great-great-grandparents were, and who our great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were. That is what we're seeing in this world today. It's an outflow consequence of the generations of the past, of the sins of the fathers. We cannot blame the system or the world outside of us for the atrocities that exist. We have the responsibility, however, to change it, and setting fire to and breaking and looting and causing more damage is not the solution. It's not the way to go. We have to look at the systemic root of the problem. What is the root of the problem? What is the root of the inequality? What is the root of the discord in the United States? Is it just the surface as the skin color, or is it the fact that we have accepted a system that says some deserve life and some others don't because of the amount of money that they have? That's why I'm one vote for an equal money system, to forgive the debt of the past, to forgive what's been done, and to allow a system to finally give space and grace to walk a process of healing the old wounds. With an equal money system, everyone is honored equally with the same right to life. The fact that you're alive, it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what sex you are, it doesn't matter what your sexual preference is, it doesn't matter where you're from. In an equal money system, you have a right to life because you are here and you are breathing. Period. That's it. And that is all the equality that we need. You have a right to life, you have a right to food, you have a right to shelter, you have a right to education, you have a right to self-express. You have a right to be who you want to be. Not at the abuse of anyone else, and not for profit, not to manipulate others, not to harm others, but to find out who you really are. That is the system that I vote for. And that's why I don't protest and I don't blame the system. I understand the system as a manifested consequence of the world that has been created and is currently being accepted and allowed. But within me, I am walking a process of changing my inner reality to address the racism and to address the inequalities that I exist within myself, within my own thinking, within who I am in relation to other people and other colors and other cultures. That's my responsibility. And as I do it, and as you do it, and as they do it, 1 + 1 + 1, we have a world that will change into what's best for all. When we take responsibility for who we are and how we contribute to this world as a whole, that is when we will change the world. So I encourage you to investigate the Destiny Eye process and to investigate equal money and to consider getting out of the streets, going home and self-reflecting and looking at who you are and who you've accepted and allowed yourself to be and how you can change yourself. That is the only way we're going to change this world without any further consequences, without any further deaths.